Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to a new edition of Urban Sentinel Live on Tuesday night. Yes, it's Tuesday night, it's 8 p.m., and we've got a great show for you in store tonight for you. We're going to go into here lately I've been interviewing authors, and tonight the author we have is actually an author who's got a good. He's a good writer, composer. He's into the written word. He's into poetry. Okay, and hey, I'm looking forward to a great interview with this gentleman tonight. His name is Troy R. Leggett. I hope I pronounced the last name wrong, but he can tell me once we get him on. He hails from Trenton, New Jersey, but he lives in Florida now. So thought we would spend the night, talk to him about what he's doing, how he's gotten to where he is, and any advice he has to other authors that are writing poetry and they want to get their works out. Everybody thinks that writing a book is just writing stories or biographies or things of that nature, but we do have authors that put out great poetry, and sometimes you need the easy stuff, something to soothe your mind and get you going again. So tonight, I want to introduce to you all Troy R. Leggett, and I hope I got it right. So, Troy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm loving life. I'm excited. How about yourself?
Well, I'm doing fine. Got a little cold here tonight, trying to fight that. You know how you running in and out of air conditioners and sweating and stuff. And went to a baseball game the other day. It was 85 degrees Saturday here in this area, and sweated. Got in my car, I was sweating. Got home, I was still sweating. So I'm paying the price for it now. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. I woke up breathing this morning, so that's the number one. That's the number one goal each day.
That's everything. A plus.
Yes.
Sound like you live in Florida.
No, I live in the DC area. Yeah, I need to be down in Florida, but y'all got too many problems down in Florida. But that guy who's y'all governor down there, y'all got to get rid of him first before I can come back into Florida and do. Because I really like Florida. I think Florida's a nice state. I really like it. But look, Troy, did I get your last name right? Leggett.
It's Troy Leggett.
Leggett. Okay, I thought that's what it probably was, Leggett, but I wasn't sure. And everything, So okay, we got that out the way and everything. So look, let me see what we're gonna start at tonight. Tell my listeners and viewers something about you, Troy. Talk to them.
Well, I'm a writer and poet, author, actor. Been writing for years now, learning my way through the literary industry, meeting great, wonderful people. Originally from Trenton, New Jersey, currently living in Florida, Central Florida area. And I'm just a happy-go regular guy looking to pave my way in the literary world and see how many lives I can change through my words written through poems.
Okay. Now, tell me, how long have you been writing poetry?
Going hard, I would say, beginning since 1998. To the present.
Okay. That's quite a while. So you've been putting some time. So what drew you to poetry?
So prior to me putting a keen focus on poetry itself, I began challenging myself with writing rhymes, verses, lyrics, and later learning that it's all poetry. I came across a newspaper that had a contest inside of it, and I just decided to submit one of my, rhymes from a song I was working on constructing, and it seemed that they liked they enjoyed what they read, and I got great feedback. So that was great motivation right there. I began reading books that had poetry in it. And I said, hey, I think I can do this. So I gave it a shot. I started writing poetry in my own way, journalizing, learning how to be vulnerable and opening up, sharing my mind, thoughts, and experiences, memories, all on paper. And I ended up with my first book, which I published in 2015. And in 2015, my learning at that time with my first book encouraged me to challenge myself to start accumulating poems to set the stage for my second book, which is called The Objective Scholar.
So look, okay, your first book was named, what was the name of your first book again?
Social Climax.
Okay, so do you have that book with you? Or
Not
you should know from memory. What I wanted you to do is read us a couple of poems out of the first book.
out of the first book.
Yes.
Give me 1 second.
Okay. We want the audience to hear some of your work.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. One second. So I know that I got a poem called that I really like. I believe it's called from. I got two. I got one called The Actor. I know for sure, and I got one called the From Caterpillar to Butterfly. It's been a little minute,
Right.
but I'm gonna see if I can dig it up for you because I brought, of course, I brought my second book.
Right.
So here we go. Let me see what I can pull and find. All right, I got several of them. Okay, so I'm gonna read The Actor first, if that's okay.
Okay, that's cool.
The Actor. Each transformation leads into another world, signifying the adaptation, convincing expressions, juggling body language that portray a given image. Time assists proper discipline, orchestrating a presence psychologically relevant, creating silent space of the developed energy suited for specific characters, driven by talent, defining useful methods, uniquely compared, globally connected. And that's The Actor.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read you another one.
Okay.
So this one is called To Me, It's Real. To me, it's real. I could care less what anybody else thinks. It's been a while since I last talked to. It's been a while since I last walked with. It's been a while since I last dated. To me, it's real. I could care less what anybody else thinks. I can count the many days I felt like this. I can count the many days I kissed a woman's lips. I can count the many days I held someone in my arms. To me, it's real. I could care less what anybody else thinks. Reason, I work on myself to qualify for the best. Reason, I work on discipline so much I hardly rest. reason, I work on responsibility and what is important. To me, it's important.
Great, great, great. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. I like it. I like it.
All right.
Now, I know a lot of people that are probably listening tonight probably say, well, they're used to roses are red, violets are blue, that kind of thing with everything rhyming and stuff. But
Yes.
how do we, so you can teach me on this too, how do we, I'm trying to look for my right words here. How do we develop poetry and it's not rhyming, but it sounds like poetry? What goes into that thought process? Okay, because you're not rhyming, but you
Right.
are. It sounds poetic. Okay, it has a
Yes.
meaning. It has objective and everything. How do we distinguish the two? How do we get there? I guess that's what I'm talking about.
So first, it depends on the individual and the goals that they have as a writer as they approach their art or
Mm-hmm.
piece. With the two poems that you heard, they're not rhyming. I wrote them more so in a journal format, which I think would fall under blank verse, which is like a free verse style
Uh-huh.
poetry. And with that, there's really no rules to it in which you see fit and to your satisfaction. I believe that sometimes we have different formulas that we use to create a piece or a poem.
Mm-hmm.
Not all poems will rhyme, but that is what we have been introduced to most times that we're used to calling an actual poem. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always just say, write everything that you feel that comes to mind and restructure it later to fit a specific formula, whether you want it to rhyme, whether you want it to be short, whether you want it to be long, whether you want it to tell a story. But at least you got out of you the poetry that was within you, those words that was within you, those words that have meaning to you as a writer, as a poet. And I think that's pretty much how most individuals are writing poetry today, if they're not taking an actual poetry class or lesson and being taught the strict rules of poetry. I would think if someone just, because we're all poets in our own way, but of course, like everything and some things in the world, there's rules, measures, requirements, and poetry is one that have them. Not everybody is aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
So most of us write poetry as how we see fit, and we just freestyle it and we let go.
Now, do you have any formal training in English, major in English, or anything like that? You know.
No, sir. I wish now
Mm-hmm.
that I became closer and my pursuit within the literary industry, I'm learning that a lot of poets that I'm coming across, a lot of especially authors and some people that are having success as a writer, period, have backgrounds and education with degrees where
Mm-hmm.
they have learned, strict measures, rules, requirements, and what it is that makes a reader enjoy what they write
Mm-hmm. But
more.
sometimes education, or advanced degrees, isn't as important as you think it are because you sound great. I mean, your poems sound good. I mean,
Thank you.
okay,
Yeah.
you know,
Thank-
I'm no poetry critic, but it sounds good. It has a meaning. You can identify with it. So I see all the attributes that go along with a poem. I see them there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just,
So I see them there. I think sometimes we do get caught up on degrees and having a certain amount of education and things of that nature, and it really you don't need it. Okay.
I like,
If you have that mindset for it and you practice it in it and you enjoy what you're doing, you can do a lot of stuff without having had a degree.
I agree.
You know.
I,
Now, Mark has a question for you. He said, do you find most poems are about relationships or issues that they are passionate about, that you might be passionate about?
Ask Mark, are you talking about my writing specifically, or
Yeah,
as a
you're
poet?
writing specifically. Yeah, Mark is asking that question, in writing
Hi,
your
Mark. How
poem.
you?
How you
Here,
doing? And I can
here, Mark.
clarify. A lot of times when I go to poetry events, and like I said, I work at a cultural arts center. Sometimes even when I'm producing Reggie's show, I'm producing it from that center, and all along those lines. And I know that a lot of the poets that I hear oftentimes are going through their relationship woes as well as their relationship victories. And a lot of times I find a lot of poets that are dealing with an issue that they are passionate about, whether that's domestic violence or whether that's police violence or a number of other things as well. So that's why I was wondering whether your poems were fitting in a certain category, whether it's your romance life or whether it's issues that you are passionate about.
This is going to be interesting and funny at the same time. So I write about any and everything. Experiences, yes. However, I listen to people that I talk to who may be going through similar things or going through things that are just unique to them. And sometimes that inspires me to write where the topic they would understand, but it wouldn't be me exposing someone else's life or business. You know what I mean? So for me, some of my poems are about me, and then some of my poems come from so many different areas. It's just amazing. That's why I like writing so much, because I don't have a limit on how I can construct my poetry. You may not be a person that is well versed, you may not be a writer, but we have a conversation. I may create a poem, you feel in some kind of way, and one day I may revisit you and say, hey, this is what I wrote from our conversation. What do you think? And you read it, you say, man, those are the exact same words. That's what I wanted to say. That's how I feel right there. And I said, that's what I got from you from our conversation. And then that's how sometimes I come up with some of my work.
That makes a lot of sense. Just really quickly, then we'll turn it back to Reggie and everything, because I know that there is different poetry styles, and I know that there are folks that are, and it sounds like you're one of them, that are more straight ahead poetry, but I do know that there is competitive poetry, because actually they'll be in your neck of the woods, I think next month, because there'll be the Southern Fried, which is what is going on if you're doing slam poetry. So I was just wondering if that's anything that you had ever dealt with or tried to get involved with, because I know that that can be very competitive, but it can also be very interesting, because like I said, our team, the Jambalaya Soul team, will be making a trip down to Pompano Beach, because that's where Southern Fried will be this year, because they alternate and go to different places, as just like they do for the Nationals. But I know in June they'll be headed down to Pompano Beach. But I just wondered, is that something you either attended or that you participated in yourself?
Okay, so I have had chance to see spoken word artists and slam, people that are into slam contests. I know a few out in LA, and I know some here in Florida, which their work is so great. It kind of inspired me to want to challenge myself to one day put together a piece and participate in a manner that they share them and express themselves. Right now, I have no pieces where I deliver in that manner, but I have been into the environment to support and listen. Yes, I have seen that occur. I know it's pretty big, but this is what I'm liking about poetry. Is growing a larger space where people can participate and become involved, and they can approach it as if it's a sport, because in sport it's competition, so they can approach it in that manner, and it's a peaceful manner, it's a fun manner, but it's also in a manner of education, because you learn the voice and experience of that person delivering their art and expressing themselves through words. And sometimes they get very emotional, so it's a freedom of people letting themselves go. So I admire it. One day I definitely hope that I will grow to a level where I can one day share a piece in that manner, even participate. I see people win trophies and win competitions. It's exciting.
Yeah, they definitely win prizes, they win money, they win things like that. And I do know that sometimes before the competition starts, they will bring out what they call a sacrificial poet, which is what you're talking about, like a poet that will come out and do just one number. They will get scored, and sometimes they will get scored strong. Sometimes they'll get scored weakly, but they are not having to do the full amount of rounds that the regular competitors are doing. They're just doing a one-off, and they'll also have feature poets as well. So sometimes the feature poets don't even get scored at all. So that's a possibility that you might get to research and do as well, because I do know that sometimes they will have featured poets that are not being scored.
Yes.
Okay, good. So how do you see rap music when it comes to poetry? Because you had like Biggie, you had Tupac, and some of the old school rappers and everything. And if you look at their lyrics, if you just take the music away and examine their lyrics and study their lyrics, that was that form of poetry.
Yes. They were speaking in a time of their present, just as poets from prior to their existence were doing as well. So the difference may be the style or sound of music. For example, you had jazz. Sometimes I believe people like Langston Hughes and maybe some other individuals would put jazz behind their poetry. And you had during Tupac and Biggie's time, they just had producers that put the current sound of music that they were creating at that time behind their poetry.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when you talk about rap music and you talk about rhymes, lyrics, and bars and verses, some with me, I didn't look at it as the word poetry attached to it. That was something that I later learned. So it may be some other artists out there that write their own music or write lyrics that may have that same mindset and concept as well. Like they don't know that this is actually poetry,
Mm-hmm.
even though today people are really sharing. You hear artists more saying that they're poets and they're rapping to music, so people are becoming aware that they are similar, and they're being exposed and shared with others in various different unique ways. I think that there, aside from that, though the two artists that you name are great, and I think that they were speaking at a time of the level of influence and education and environment that they had in their lives, and they were telling their story. It was like news. News. They were telling what they were going through or how they see things to be,
Mm-hmm.
and or what they've learned or what they knew to be facts, or the controversial, stereotypical concepts that get attached to the rap music at that time. And being that they were artists having success, the eye was on them. So that's just a little bit that I can say as far as my point of view, as far as them in poetry.
Mm-hmm. Mark was saying that Gil Scott Heron and Last Poets were masterful poets
Yes,
and everything.
very influential, very
Mm-hmm.
influential.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Gil did his poetry, or does. I don't know if he's still living or not, but his poetry is spoken to music, right? Yeah, his songs.
Gil Scott.
Yeah, Gil Scott Heron.
I think he got. I know the Last Poets for sure. I think he
Okay.
has some. I think he has some like that as well. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Now, who inspires you as a poet? Who gets your juices flowing when you listen to him? Who inspires you?
Oh man. I'm gonna say all poets, because all poets I come across always say something or have something. It's like I learned something new. It's like it don't matter how long ago that they was a poet or it's been recorded, videotaped. They always say something. They present a style. I learned something about them that they were doing, whether it was intended or not intended. So
Mhm.
I always get inspired, and I always get influenced by hearing poets or reading poetry. I think right now I like the professionalism and intellectual mind states, regardless of where they came from. A lot of poets that have set the stage, they were really laying things out. I mean, you got uh, the Nikki Giovanni's, you got the
Mhm.
Angelos, you got the Rita Doves, you got it's just so many. The name can go on. I know we're familiar with Langston Hughes. I'm
Mm-hmm.
familiar with James Baldwin, Robert Frost. You know, all of these wonderful Ralph Ellison, all of these wonderful poets. So what I was going to say is, I think with all of those, type of poets,
Mm-hmm.
I think they all influence me in some kind of way. That's
Mm-hmm.
what, that's what I.
And the one person you left out was Maya Angelou.
No, I said Maya Angelou.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah,
I missed it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
said my. I think yeah, Maya Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other brilliant women that really knew their craft, knew how to express.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I learned and I like about the women poets is that they really dig deep in sharing their personal experiences and sharing and exposing their pains, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them have pains that they have endured, and they were able to express themselves and write it in a way to where you understand exactly where they're coming from. So that learning how to do that as a man, like be able to express myself in a way where you can say, wow, I get the full picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's those are goals that I look for, and those are the writers that influence me, the poets that influence me to do so.
Okay. So would you say that music as a whole or poetry as a whole they have influenced each other? Okay.
Yes.
Because if you listen to gospel music, if you listen to R&B, um, many different forms of music, the lyrics are always written in a poetic form.
Yes.
Then they put the music to it.
Yes.
They're telling a story. They're expressing feelings and stuff.
Yes. Now, can I add as well, now that you mentioned music,
Uh-huh.
so a lot of artists that I grew up with, they take part in that beginning process of my writing poetry because of me working towards writing rhymes. So
Mm-hmm.
you had groups like De La Soul, Jungle Brothers, KRS-One, Eric B. and Rakim, EPMD, LL Cool J, Curtis Blow, Fat Boys, MC Light, Queen Latifah's, Ice Cubes. The list goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
And as that culture evolved, you've seen the growth in artists, you've seen the development in artists, you've seen the fun in the music, and you've seen how professional and compact it was when it was delivered and presented. And that was a part of the influence as well on my end when you mentioned music too.
Great, great, great. Now tell me about your acting career.
Yes, I love acting. Acting is fun. It's an art as well. Um, I would say that right now I'm pushing and reaching out and hoping to score more projects, but I do have some projects that I was able to score on a small level to be able to get my feet wet. And I do it when I can, when I can, meaning when
Mm-hmm.
either an agent reach out or a casting director reach out, they see my work, they contact me through an agent, and I definitely take advantage of the opportunity.
Okay, good, good. Mark was saying that Mike from Jungle Brothers is a plumber, working as a plumber
Mm,
in Durham, but he's still performing also
mm,
down in Durham, North Carolina. Now,
okay.
how did you're from northern New Jersey?
Yes.
How did you end up in Central Florida?
Great question. I'm gonna tell. I gotta be honest about this now. My dad, my dad. He got tired of the snow. He got tired of the cold.
Uh-huh.
That was one bullet point. Another bullet point was that he was able to see the opportunities that were in Florida,
Mm-hmm.
and he decided, hey, let me see if I can move my son there to give him a better opportunity. In the north, things move fast, and sometimes life can be slow moving for me, meaning for he can see the talents in me, but he can
Right.
see not participating and taking advantage of the many opportunities there because it's so competitive, so because it's so challenging. And he see that Florida had some space, I guess, and he brought me here and to see what I can do.
Right. Right.
At the
Right.
same
Okay.
time, here in Florida, I believe another bullet point is no taxes. Another bullet point is the multicultural environments. So I can get exposed to more cultures other than just African American and Latino.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to come to Florida, and I met people from Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Africa. Where else I met people from? A lot of different countries. Russia. I met people from Russia. So I said, wow, if I would have stayed in New Jersey, I don't know what opportunities would have presented themselves as such,
Right.
but they did. And I think those were the main bullet points of how I ended up in Florida. And another bullet point is I was a teenager, so I had no choice at the
You had
time.
no choice.
Yes.
You had no choice. You had to go. Boy, you going. Pack them clothes up. Boy, you going. Okay.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Yeah. So, do you find yourself mentoring other kids that are interested in poetry?
At the present, I don't have nobody right up under me that I'm like working with and grooming. Networking, I would say I am networking with people, but I don't have no one that I'm specifically hands-on working and bringing along yet. As of yet, however, I will say that I have been a influence and motivating factor to children in a high school that I was invited out to be a speaker and talk about my book and poetry and share and participate in a workshop involving that. So that's about as close as I've gotten to being an actual mentor to someone younger than me that may be interested in writing and interested in poetry.
Okay, good, great. Now, do you plan to step out of poetry with being an author and a writer? Do you plan to step out and maybe do a novel or something, a book of that type?
Let me tell you. So, you got me spilling the beans on my little small goals.
Mm-hmm.
I say my bigger goals. So some of my bigger goals are definitely compiled of expanding my writing ability. Right now, my next step more, which I currently work on, I had to take a pause to that. And then after that, once I understand how to write a memo on a small level and understand that, maybe I can go into challenging myself with a novel. Now they say when you step on the plane writing a novel, you're the real deal, but it's hard work. It's not as easy as people think. It's not like poetry. But what I'm doing is taking them in steps. If I can do poetry, learn poetry, how to do it the right way, then I can take my writing ability of poetry somehow and incorporating that into my next level work. And then learn the rules and learn how to operate on that level and then take it to a bigger level versus just jumping in there. Now, I'm not afraid to. It's just the way that how the cards fell in my hands. And I'm just going with the flow with that. I started with poetry, and that's what I've been working with. But I definitely would love to be able to at least have my hands in multiple genres other than just poetry.
Okay, good. So how did you meet my friend Rodney? How did you meet up with him?
Mr. Rodney, or should I say Yonda? Yonda
Yeah,
is a
Yonda.
very, 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 very great person, very supportive. I am a barber by day.
Oh, okay.
And he came to a shop near me because I work in a business suite environment where it's multiple business in one building, and other barbers, hairstylists, facials, all of those type of things, feet. And he went to a barber and it wasn't what he was looking for. And he walked past me and asked me, "Hey, do I have an opening?" And I said, "Sure, let's do it." He came in, we started talking. I listened to him, and he always leads with what he does. He's a writer who has books published. And my head went back because I said, that's strange because, I'm a poet and I'm a writer, and that's how we began building our relationship. Everything clicked. From then, when I showed him the proof of what I said, he's always been supportive. He's always been motivating me. He's always been speaking highly of people in his network that have supported him, that he's known, maybe possibly mentored or been mentored by. And he opened up his arms and said, "Hey man, let me see, let's work together. Let me see if I can help you." And vice versa. That's how we've been moving forward. And it's been green light. Everything has been success up until this point.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. I've known him for, gosh, I don't even know how many years I know him. I know I've known him for a while, so he's a great guy and everything. Maybe you can write in his genre one day, his
Yeah, I'm
love
not.
stories.
Yeah. I'm not. Hey, you know what? That's a question I would love to ask him. But that would be
Uh,
something to be able to work with him on a project some kind of way, with something that
mhm.
he can take the lead on, and I can just participate, like,
Yeah,
put my little 2 cents in here and there and follow his lead and see what we could come up with. Because I think it's always iron sharpen iron, and it's always good to motivate each other to continue and keep producing while we're alive. So
right.
by you saying that, I'm gonna mention that to him. I'm gonna say, hey,
Mhm.
I'm gonna say, Reggie told us, man, we need to get together and do something. And
Do
they
some
waiting on it.
collaboration.
And they waiting on it
Mhm.
yesterday. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Now, how do you balance the work life thing? You work as a barber, and I'm sure when you leave a barber shop, you go home and you think about and stuff you've had on your mind all day that you got to jot down, or you might have jotted stuff down during the day. So how do you balance the two so you can have plenty of time to give to poetry? Because I know poetry is probably your first love.
Yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, I
Uh-huh.
believe so. Other than basketball, yes, those are my
Hmm.
two. So to say that, I will say that it's all in time management, and it can be done. I
Hmm.
will say in my life, it's very challenging and very tiring, because the opportunities come in multiples. They don't come individualized. So
Right.
I can just zoom on that one opportunity. Opportunities come at me at the same time. So
Mhm.
when my business came, I met Rodney. I was in school for a class for poetry, not taking like a degree, but a class in poetry. I was fortunate enough at the time. Plus, I was pursuing a film and media degree at Arizona State University.
Okay.
So all of those things, making time. I was closing my nights out 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and then getting up and being at the barbershop at 8 a.m. And then in
Hmm.
between that, going out, marketing, promoting the barbershop, getting off. In between that, finding little times here to write on off days, lunch times, in my car, coming out of the shower, at home, cleaning up, various different ways the urge hits.
Hmm.
So I try to keep notebooks handy. Recently, I just learned that on my phone we have a notes section, and I
Yep.
just learned you can use that. So that helped me tremendously.
Hmm.
Thanks to technology, I'm able to just pull my phone out and jot down when a thought or an idea come to mind, and never lose that thought or that word or that line or that verse, and I can just get it down. So that's how it's been working for me. But time management, like if I can grow to the level of saying, okay, between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., I'm gonna do writing. After that, I'm
Hmm.
gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. It'll get so much easier for me.
Okay, that's good. That is good. That is good. So how do you avoid the inner critic?
Mm. And we as writers are our worst critic.
Mhm.
So what I've done is I've grown to a level to write any and everything and don't throw anything away. Because what I don't need today, I may want to use a piece tomorrow, or
Mhm.
I may read it tomorrow and get a better and bigger idea from when I first wrote it.
Yeah, we can and will beat our own selves up, we'll be our worst critic and everything. So now the second book you wrote, what was the name of that second book you wrote of poetry
It-
again?
it's called The Objective Scholar, Poetic
Okay.
Wordplay. I'll hold it up for you so you can see it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Now do you self-publish and get your printing done yourself and distribute it yourself and everything? All your
I,
your two
I
books?
So my first book, Social Climax, was published through self-published, but it was through a company called Ex Libris. You may know them. My second book, it was self-published, and I work with a book team that would help me put it together so that I can self-publish it on my own.
Okay.
Make it available on the many outlets like Amazon, Ingram Sparks, those type of things.
Okay.
Different approach, same concept, just different approach.
Okay. Now, can people purchase your books on Amazon and different shopping sites?
Yes. So both my books is available on Amazon.com. Both my books is available on Goodreads. Both my books is available on BarnesandNoble.com. And my books is available, I believe, on Walmart.com as well.
Oh, okay.
And it may be other places, but I have to research that. But those are the more common that people ask about. So I have them readily on my hand from my research, pulling them up online and everything.
Now, this is one question I failed to ask other authors I've interviewed. Okay. How do you go about getting your product on Amazon and Goodreads and other entities like that?
So there are companies out there that you pay them some money, and they get your book made available on many outlets to the people. And then there's ways that you can do everything from the ground up, from scratch. I mean, from getting your ISBN number, from copywriting your work, from hiring a book cover team to develop your book cover once they have the proper sizes, to editing your manuscript once you find the right team of editors that can provide and deliver the service of your request. Also, it saves money when you do it by yourself, but it's a lot of hard work when it comes to the marketing aspect when you do it by yourself. The marketing aspect is the most challenging. The editing is the most challenging that I'm seeing so far. The editing, I believe, may be a little more challenging than marketing, because now you have so many people such as yourself that make it easy for us as writers and authors to be able to get some exposure and outlet. Whereas editing is the most critical part, because you have, like you said, professors, more experienced literary participants who understand grammar, who understand poetic styles, and understand many different things, may look and critique your work based on that. So that's, it's important to find a great editing team. And I don't think that it's nothing that you can't do on your own. It's just knowing what your goals are, what your time that you have, and what your budget is. I think those are the main things you need to find out: your budget, your time, and what your goals are. If you need it quick, fast, in a hurry, then of course you want to go with a professional team that you may pay to have everything done for you on your behalf. If you're a person that want to have full control and hands in on everything, then you would go through the steps that's needed to do the right parts that completes the entire process of which you would have paid somebody else to do.
A lot of hard work, marketing.
Oh yes, marketing is a never-ending story.
Yeah, can keep you going and everything. Okay, so give me a couple more poems. Let me your new book. You most recently wrote.
That's what I've been waiting on, the new book.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a book that I began writing in 2015, strictly for my second book. Like I called this is going in my second book. And I put a goal on it, a time frame on it for 2017. That didn't happen. But 2024 is when that book finally manifested itself. My second book, the original book cover that I had, I even changed that later, But I want to see, let's see what we got here. So I got a poem called, I love this poem. I want to see if you can see the difference between, if you can kind of remember with the first book, the poems that I shared. I want to see if you see any difference with any of the second poems that I share.
Okay.
from the second book. All right, so this poem is called All Money. All money is not good money, especially if it's not earned in a way where regret or disappointment taunts you. Believe it or not, there's a higher top living thankful for what you got, something more than a lot. A mind, a heart, and 2 feet to walk, a mouth to talk, plus life lessons taught, all at an expense not paid nor bought. All money is not good money, especially if it's not earned in a way that regrets or disappointment taunts you. Enjoy what you do. The only judge is you. Always be true, each day new. Many skies are blue and some days are gray too. Spice up the menu. Always continue. Each shoe worn is its individual, highly intellectual, molded by what you have been through. All money is not good money, especially if it's not earned in a way that regrets or disappointment taunts you. So that's
Okay.
all money.
All right. Sounds great. 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 Great.
See if I can get you another one.
Okay.
So one of my favorite poems right here. It's called My Pen Sounds Like Mozart. Accurate precision when gliding soft strokes. Thoughts of passion tattoo sheets of paper. Expressing experiences for a favor. Perfect melodies captured in music notes. Synchronized tones delivering rhythm. Classic to ear. A sound where horns whistle. Written orchestra, the color of nickel. An automatic, constant free system. The drum sounds like inhaling deep within. Topics are tasteful, mental messages. Soul-driven revelations spoken honestly. The zone reminds me of a time long back then. Consistent poetry openly written. A personal passage that says, listen. And that's called My Pen Sounds Like Mozart. See
Okay.
if I can find you another one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so this one is called World Within a World Within a World. And this one goes out to some of our great, great men and women in the world that somehow fell victim and possibly had themselves incarcerated and locked behind a wall and probably never will see another day. So I definitely wanted to make something for them, just in case they're tuned in.
Right.
This is World Within a World Within a World. Looking out of such powerful capsule, as the beast struggles to digest, thoughts of blue are the prized asset, inside working each task at hand steadily channeled. Grounded on a stationary plane of freedom, never a spectator in a battle for justice, soundly connected to that eternal oneness, knowing the victory or defeat is yet to be won. Harmonized amongst the community beneath the brown shell, scribing survival sunlight admires, floating off as mine erases razor wires, enjoying life in heaven even under the hammered nails. Eyes applaud such disciplined glow of fire, returning light to every untamed ego, pacifying the rowdy will of hopelessness that grows, refilling that centered passion the soul desires. And that one's called World Within a World Within a World.
Okay. Good. Good. Sound good. Now, I there had from your first book to your second book, definitely some great improvement. You sound a little more edgy. Sound a little more edgy
Okay, okay,
and more to the point. You know, it's
okay,
you hitting that wall hard. Okay, hitting
okay,
that wall hard, so you can tell, definitely can tell the difference. You know, I mean, your first book poetry was great too, and your second book, the poetry is great also. But you're a little more edgy, you're more on to the point, and more meaningful and hard hitting. You know,
Okay. Thank you.
you're knocking it, you're chopping the tree down, man. You're chopping the tree down.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming
Thank,
strong, coming strong,
thank you.
coming strong. Look, I can't put no words together like that. Okay, you know, you have to have a special love for poetry to be able to do it. Okay, I love it, you know, but if you told me to sit down, if I was in school now, you told me to sit down and write a poem, I probably will do. Roses are red, violets are blue. You know, that's probably what I would do. You know, but
Yeah.
you got to have that feel for and understanding that, you know, like I said earlier, all poetry doesn't rhyme, you know, but
Right.
when you write it, it's got to have a meaning that people can identify with, and you got to hit it hard. And you know, you're definitely doing that. You're
Thank you.
definitely doing that. Definitely doing that and everything, you know. So, yeah, yeah. So you say you like basketball too, huh?
Absolutely. That was what I thought I was going to become, a basketball player
Well,
after,
okay.
Baseball, but
Hmm.
maybe I should have stuck with baseball and track since I didn't make it through in basketball. You know what?
Right,
But
right,
I
right.
ended up with another passion that was blossoming and blooming at the same time.
Hmm.
So I'm thankful and grateful for that.
Hmm. And that's what you got to have. Whatever you do, you got to have that passion and that
Yeah.
desire to do it, because that's how you're gonna give that 1,000% to it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
you can't just go in there. Hey, okay, let me see, can I write another poem and everything? You know, see how that sounds and stuff. You can't be dragging yourself into it. You got to go in there with a purpose. You know, with that
Yes.
passion, and know that you want to hit this thing out the ballpark. You know,
Absolutely.
that's what you definitely want to do and everything. You know, so who you think gonna win the NBA Finals?
Okay. This is I gotta say, even though I'm a fan of the old school Celtics, I,
Hmm.
if Dallas make it there, I'm a root for Kyrie. I'm a root
That's
for
gonna
Kyrie.
be a 7 game series. I really feel like it. You know, I think they're gonna go back and forth, back and forth. You know, and that's how whoever has the 7 game home court advantage will probably win it.
Once I see the first two games, I get an idea what's going on.
Yeah.
But being I'm a fan of point guards period, but mainly point
Mhm.
guards, I gotta go with Kyrie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
I'm an opposite lover, so Kyrie, you know,
mhm.
he's showing me that excitement that I like.
Yeah, yeah. Kyrie is good. I mean, he's good. You know, I mean, you see him making shots. And it was like that one playoff game he was in. He just came around to the top of the key and flipped. I think he flipped it off his left hand. You know, just flipped it
Yeah.
up to the goal and it went in. You know,
Yes. Yes.
so he does bring some. He does bring a lot of excitement to the game and everything. A lot of excitement to the game. So, Troy, do you have a website that people can contact you at or go on and get more information?
Yes. Absolutely. My website is www.troylegette.com, which is www.troylegette.com.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. And like I say, you already named the sites and that you can make purchases at, but I think everyone knows Amazon.
Yes,
You know,
Amazon.com.
yeah,
For those that shop on Goodreads.com, for those that shop at BarnesandNoble.com. Also, you can visit a Barnes and Noble store, and
mhm,
you should be able to pull up the information by my name, which is Troy Leggett, or by the book The Objective Scholar, Poetic Wordplay. Or if you're fortunate enough you would like to reach out and get the ISBN number, you can take that to them and they'll be able to pull it up in their system and order it if a Barnes and Noble is close and local to you.
oh, okay. Okay.
If you would,
Good. 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 Yes. And hey, one other question. So, do you ever go out to poetry readings and stuff and just read your stuff? You know.
I have mostly I was doing that before the book was published.
Okay.
I have been to some. Most times I've been doing it with collaborating with other individuals, whether it's business or other authors, and reading at their events in front of the audience that's there. So to give you an example, going into the school, I was able to read poems from my book. There was a wealth and credit builder seminar at a bank. I was able to go in there and read inside of that location. So, just expanding the platforms, like making myself a valuable asset anywhere the desire or the opportunity presents itself.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. So I don't know if I asked you this question or not, but hey, if I did, I'll just ask it again. What
Yes.
advice can you give to an aspiring poetry writer at this time?
I would say for aspiring poetry writers, I would say know your goals, write freely from your heart what you feel. There's never a bad topic, there's never a bad line, there's never nothing bad you can write. And also, um, know what your intended result is, whether it's a book, whether you want to submit it to a poetry contest, whether you want to get your poetry work reviewed by somebody, whether you want to see your work in a library. Just have those things in mind as you're building and as you're writing, so you know how to structure your work towards that type of medium or audience. If you want to be a spoken word writer, then you definitely would know what the material you would construct would be for that type of listening audience as you deliver your work.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. So to my viewers and listening audience, we have had a sit down conversation with Troy Legit, right?
Leggett.
Leggett. Okay, Troy Leggett tonight,
Yes,
who's a great poet. He's an author. He's a writer. He's an actor. I
yes,
mean, he's covering all the bases.
yes,
So
yes.
uh, hopefully everyone was able to pick up on some points tonight. If you enjoy writing poetry, and also I ask that you go out and support Troy and the work he's doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
He's giving you the website. He's giving you the sites where you can make a purchase of the book. Let's go put a little money in this man's pocket. Go out and support what he's doing. He's got some great poetry, and I'm sure he'll appreciate you purchasing his books. Okay. So next week we're going to have another great show next week. We're going to be coming from the Caribbean islands next week with a great show. Uh, I'm just going to tell you, don't miss it, okay? Just don't miss it. You're going to get some great information for you guys who like to do vacation, like you like to vacation in the Caribbean.
Yes.
And we'll be talking to one of the tourism ministers from one of the countries in the Caribbean. So you definitely don't want to miss that next week.
All
Uh,
right.
Until we meet again next Tuesday night. Again, Troy, thank you for joining me tonight on Urban Sentinel Live. And remember,
Yes,
Urban
yes.
Sentinel Live is a part of the Urban Sentinel Live family and the magazine. We got, hopefully, we'll be turning on our new website just in a couple of days. We got a new magazine, June, July edition of the magazine coming out pretty soon, pretty quickly, because June is almost here. So we're trying to do some great things in the publishing world, on the internet, and things of that nature. So feel free to reach out to me if you decide you need to reach out to me at Urban Sentinel Mag at gmail.com. That's where you can find me at Urban Sentinel Mag, MAG, at gmail.com. So again, people, take care this week. Stay hydrated, enjoy yourself, enjoy life. Go out, buy 2 poetry books, and sit back and read some poetry and clear your mind up, okay? And
Yes.
just float around and uh, get that pressure off you, that daily pressure of living, okay? Just read some
All right.
poetry, okay?
Yes,
And
sir.
good books and good poetry to read will be poetry that Troy has written, okay? So
Yes.
everyone, take care, be good. Troy, you take care of yourself. We'll be talking again because we want to get you in the magazine.
Okay.
Um, when we can get the opportunity to do that, you take care and keep writing those great poems, man.
Thank you so much. And you do the same, and I'm looking forward to it. You need me, just reach out, let me know, and we'll be in touch. Let's make it happen.
Okay, take care now. Good night, everyone. See you next Tuesday night, 8 o'clock on the Urban Sentinel Live show.
Yes. Thank you.